I didn't notice him at first, not directly. That was the problem. I was walking the trail, same as always, quiet, empty, nothing unusual. Just trees, wind, the sound of my steps. And then something felt off. Not a sound, not movement, just a presence. I slowed down, looked ahead, nothing. Looked, left, nothing, then dashed for a second on the edge of my vision. Something was there, far away, between the trees. Shape, still, I turned my head, immediately, but dash nothing, just forest. I frowned, stood still. Waited, then slowly, I looked forward again. And there again, on the edge, that same shape, same place, same distance, not moving. Just there. I didn't turn this time, not fully. I tried something else, kept my eyes forward, but focused slightly to the side. And I saw it clearer. A person, standing, far between the trees, completely still, facing me. I felt my breath slow. Then I turned, directly, and again, nothing, gone, I stood there, because now this wasn't imagination, It had position, distance, form. I had seen it. I looked forward again, and there on the edge it was back, exactly where it was. I whispered, "Don't turn." I kept walking, slowly, carefully, eyes forward, but aware, watching it without looking at it, and as I walked, it didn't move. Still far, still distant, still just watching. I stopped, it stayed, same place. I took another step, then another, still nothing. Then I blinked, just once, and something changed, barely, but enough, it was closer. I froze, didn't move, didn't breathe deeply. Just stood there, because now that meant something simple, it hadn't moved. While I was watching, it had moved when I wasn't. I whispered, "You wait." The forest stayed silent, but the rule was clear. I walked again, slower now, more careful, watching it from the edge, never directly, and every few steps, I felt it, that subtle shift, that slight change in distance, closer, not fast, not sudden, just inevitable. I stopped again, looked at the ground, then forward. Then on the edge, it was closer. Clearer now. The shape more defined, still facing me. I swallowed, then said quietly, "How close?" The silence didn't answer, but the distance was changing. I tried something else. I turned suddenly, fast, directly. Toward it, nothing, gone. I turned back forward, and there again on the edge even closer. Step back, because now this wasn't distance, it was approach, without motion. I stood still, trying to understand, trying to find a pattern. Then I closed my eyes, just for a second, then opened them, and immediately I saw it, closer, much closer, clear now. A person, standing between the trees, facing me. I froze, because now I understood something else, that it didn't just move when I didn't look, it moved when I couldn't look. Blinking, turning, closing my eyes. Anything that broke the direct view. I whispered, "Don't lose it." And for the first time, I was afraid to blink. I didn't blink, not after that, not if I could help it. I stood there, eyes forward, fixed. Because now I understood the rule, as long as I could see it, it wouldn't move, it stayed there, between the trees. Closer. Now, clearer, still not fully detailed, but enough, to figure, standing, facing me. I tried to focus, not directly, but carefully, holding it in that edge of vision, because every time I looked straight at it, it disappeared, and every time it disappeared, it came back closer. I exhaled slowly, then took a step back, carefully, without breaking that angle, without losing it. It stayed. Didn't move, didn't shift, still, I nodded slightly, because now this was confirmed, distance didn't matter, only attention. I took another step back, then another, still holding. It dot still watching, still there. Then my eyes burned. Just slightly dot dry dot tired dot I swallowed. Because now this was the problem. I couldn't keep this up dot not forever. I whispered, "Don't blink." The words felt useless, because I knew I would dot eventually dot. I took another step back, and this time I almost lost it. Just for a second, the angle shifted. The trees blocked part of it dot, and in that tiny gap, it moved. I froze dot, because now it was closer again dot too close. I could see more dot not details, but shape dot arms dot shoulders dot ahead. Still facing me dot always facing me. I stepped back again. Faster this time. More urgent, trying to create distance. But it didn't matter. Because now distance wasn't real. Only the gaps, only the moments I lost it. I reached into my pocket, pulled out my phone dot kept, my eyes forward. Careful dot slow dot turned the screen on. Then, without looking away, I raised it, pointed it toward the trees. Tried to use the camera dot to see it dot without turning. The screen lit. Up dot shaky dot unfocused dot, but there on the display I saw it, clearer than before. Standing dot closer than it should be. I froze, because that meant the camera saw it directly, and it didn't disappear. I whispered, "You don't mind that?" The silence held, but the rule changed dot. It didn't need my eyes dot. It needed my attention. Or something like it. I stared at the screen. Then slowly I lowered the phone dot just slightly dot, and in that moment, it moved again. I snapped the phone back up dot too late dot closer dot much. Closer. Now I could almost see where its face should be, but not clearly. Never clearly, like it didn't allow that. I stepped back, faster now, almost, stumbling, trying to keep it in frame, trying not to lose it, but my hand shook. The image flickered dot the angle shifted, and again. It moved dot closer dot too close. I lowered the phone. Slowly dot because now I didn't need it. I could feel it. Right there dot just beyond direct sight. I whispered, "How close are you?" And for the first time, I thought I heard something dot not a voice, not a sound, just a shift, like something preparing to take the last step. I stood there dot frozen dot eyes wide, refusing to blink dot because now I knew there wasn't much distance left. Only time, only one moment where I would lose it, even for a second. And when that happened, it wouldn't be far anymore, dot it would be right there. My eyes started to hurt dot not sharply, dot not suddenly dot just steadily. A slow pressure dot building dot behind my eyes. I didn't move, didn't turn, didn't blink dot, because now I knew what would happen. I stood there, staring forward, holding that angle, that exact position, where I could still see it. Just on the edge, still there dot closer now, much closer, too close. I could see the outline clearly, a body, standing upright dot arms at its sides, head tilted slightly dot, always facing me. I whispered, "Don't move." But it wasn't for a dot, it was for me. Because now every movement risked losing it. I took a breath dot slow dot, my vision flickered slightly. Just for a moment, and in that moment, it moved dot closer dot. I froze dot, because now it was near enough that I didn't need the trees to see its shape. It was no longer part of the forest dot, it was separate dot, distinct dot. I stepped back dot slowly dot carefully dot, trying to keep it exactly where it was, but my body wasn't as controlled as my eyes dot. My foot slipped slightly, a small shift, a tiny break in focus. And again, it moved dot closer dot, now dash too close. I could feel it, not touch, not sound, just presence dot, right in front of me dot. I whispered, "Stop." But it didn't stop, because it never had dot, it only waited. For me to fail dot, my eyes burned harder now. Tears forming, blurring the edges. distorting the shape. I tried to focus, tried to hold it together, but the more I strained, the less stable it became. I blinked just once. I couldn't stop a dot, and when I opened my eyes, it was right there no distance. No trees between us no space, just dash it standing in front of me. I froze completely, because now I understood. Something else it didn't need to move anymore, it had arrived. I didn't look at it directly. I couldn't, because even now I felt like if I focused too much, it would change again. Or worse, finish something. I whispered, "What are you?" The forest didn't respond, but something shifted. Not around me, in front of me, the figure tilted its head slightly. Just a fraction. Not enough to be a full movement, but enough to be seen. I stepped back, but there was nowhere to go, because now distance didn't exist anymore. I closed my eyes, instinct, fear, reflex, and immediately I felt it, closer, impossible, real. I opened my eyes, and it wasn't in front of me anymore. I froze, because now that meant something worse. I whispered, "Where are you?" And for the first time, I felt it behind me. I didn't to turn around, not immediately, because now I understood something worse. Looking wasn't enough anymore. I stood there, facing forward, eyes wide, not blinking, moving. And behind me, I could feel it, not touching, not breathing, just. They're close, too close. I whispered, "Don't move." But again, it wasn't for a it was for me, because turning was the same as losing it. And losing it meant letting it move. I swallowed slowly, then tried something else, I shifted my eyes, not my head, just my vision, trying to catch something, anything, in the edge. And for a moment, I saw it, behind me, just barely, a shape, closer than before, closer than it should be. I froze, because now it wasn't just approaching, it was repositioning. I stepped forward, slow, careful, trying to create space again. But the feeling didn't change, it didn't get further, it stayed. Right there. I whispered, "You're not following distance." The silence held, but the truth settled, it didn't care where I was, it only cared. When I lost it, I took another step, then another, still watching forward, still trying to keep awareness behind, and then my foot caught something, a root, I stumbled. Just slightly, but enough, my focus broke, for less than a second, and in that moment, it moved again. I froze, because now it wasn't just behind me, it was everywhere around me, not physically, but positioned, waiting, anywhere. I didn't look. I turned my head slightly, just a fraction, and for a split second, I saw it again, to the side, now, closer, watching, I snapped. My head back forward, heart racing now, because now there was no safe direction, no fixed position, no way to hold it. I whispered, "I can't cover everything." The silence didn't respond, but the realization stayed. I stepped backwards slowly, then stopped, because something changed, the forest felt different, quieter, heavier, like everything else had stepped back, leaving just this. I closed my eyes again. Not fully, just a fraction, and instantly I felt it, right in front of me, closer than ever. I opened, then nothing, empty space. I stepped back, then said quietly, "You're where I'm not looking." The rule was complete. Now, it didn't move when I didn't look, it existed. Where? I didn't. I stood still, breathing slowly, trying to think, trying to find any way out. Then a new thought appeared, not clear, but simple. If I couldn't see it everywhere, maybe I didn't need to. Maybe I just needed to stop being the one it was. Watching, I frowned, then whispered, "What if I stop being here?" The silence held, but something shifted, because now this Wasn't about avoiding it, dot. It was about breaking the rule. I stood there, dot, still, dot, thinking, dot, while something just outside my vision waited. For the next moment, I wouldn't. I didn't run, dot, not after that, dot. Because now I understood something clearly. There was nowhere to go, dot, not in the forest, dot, not away from it, dot, because distance was never part of this. I stood still, breathing slowly, eyes open, trying to hold everything, dot, front, dot, sides, dot, behind, dot, but I couldn't, dot, no one could. I whispered, "There's always a place I'm not looking." The silence held, but it felt like an answer. I closed my eyes, just for a second, dot, not out of fear, out of understanding, and in that second, everything changed. Felt it, dot, not moving, not approaching, dot, just arriving. Everywhere I wasn't, dot, at once. I opened my eyes. The forest looked the same, dot, trees, dot, stillness, dot, nothing unusual. But something was different, dot, not outside, dot, inside, dot, the feeling, dot, it wasn't behind me anymore, dot. It wasn't to the side, dot, it wasn't in front, dot, it was dash a line, dot. I stood there. Then, slowly I turned my head, for the first time without trying to catch it, dot, without trying to control it, dot, and for a moment I saw it, dot, directly, dot, clearly, dot, standing in front of me, dot, not disappearing, dot, not moving, dot, just there. I froze, dot, because that shouldn't happen. I was looking at it, dot, and it stayed. I whispered, "You're not moving anymore." The silence didn't respond, but the truth settled, dot. It didn't need to. I took a step back, dot. It didn't follow, didn't shift, didn't react. I stepped again, dot, nothing, dot. I frowned, dot, because now the rule was broken. Or finished. I stood still, then said quietly, "What changed?" And slowly I realized, dot, it wasn't it, dot. It wasn't me. I wasn't trying to track it anymore. I wasn't trying to avoid it. I wasn't trying to stay ahead. I had stopped being the observer. And in that moment, it no longer needed to move. I looked at it fully. Now, dot, no fear, dot, no tension, dot, just recognition, dot, because suddenly it felt familiar. Not like something I had seen before, but something I had always been aware of, dot, just never directly. I took a breath, then stepped forward, dot, slowly, dot, carefully, dot, and it didn't move, didn't disappear, didn't react. I stopped in front of it, dot, close enough to see where its face should be. But there was nothing clear, dot, no features, dot, no expression, dot, just presence. I whispered, "You were never following me." The silence held, but the answer was already there, dot. It wasn't following, dot. It wasn't chasing, dot. It was dash filling, dot, every space I didn't occupy, dot, every moment I didn't hold, dot, every place I wasn't. I stepped closer, dot, and as I did, something shifted. Not in it, dot, in me, dot. The forest felt further away, less defined, like I was stepping out of it, dot, not physically, but positionally, dot. I turned slightly, and for a second I saw something impossible. Behind me, another figure, standing where I had been, dot, watching, dot, frozen, dot, trying not to blink. I froze, because now I understood everything. I whispered, "You didn't come to me." Then paused. "I moved into you." The silence held, but nothing needed to respond, dot, because now I wasn't the one being watched. I was the one standing just outside someone else's vision, dot, waiting, dot, for the moment they would blink.